All right, so let's dive into a world where like boredom and bravado kind of collide.
Yeah.
Where a UK teenager went from, you know, pretty typical to like totally notorious.
Hmm.
The story of Joseph James O'Connor,
Yeah.
better known as PlugWalkJoe in the hacking world.
Right.
Imagine just like hijacking a celebrity's social media just because you could.
Yeah.
That's kind of how this whole thing began.
That's how it starts. Yeah. And it's so fascinating how Joe's story, really encapsulates the whole evolution of cybercrime. You know what I mean?
Right.
It goes from these almost juvenile social media takeovers to full-on elaborate cryptocurrency heists.
Yeah.
In just a few years, and his early days really give us a glimpse, I think, into the mindset of a young hacker, The allure of notoriety, the thrill of pushing the boundaries.
He was a gamer, right?
Yeah.
Like typical UK teen, spending most of his time on Xbox, GTA, Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
But then he stumbles upon this technique called SIM swapping.
Right.
And things take a sharp turn.
Yeah. SIM swapping is basically just tricking a mobile provider into transferring a victim's phone number to a new SIM card.
Oh, wow.
And what's interesting is how something so simple can unlock access to a whole world of sensitive information.
Right.
It really underscores how fragile our digital security is,
Yeah.
How often it hinges on human error rather than complex code.
So Joe figures out SIM swapping and starts flexing his skills.
Yeah.
First notable target YouTuber Logan Paul back in 2018.
Okay.
Takes over Logan's account, posts a fake iPhone giveaway, even directs people to a link in the description.
Wow.
Now, not long after Logan gets his account back, but Joe had already made a name for himself, particularly among what's known as the OG user community.
Yes. And it's important to understand the significance of that OG user community because it points to a deeper motivation beyond just mischief,
Right.
These are individuals who place a high value on rare usernames, early accounts like online status symbols. Joe's early hack wasn't just about disrupting Logan Paul. It was about earning recognition within a specific subculture, demonstrating his skills, establishing his credibility as a hacker.
So he was chasing clout even back then.
Yeah.
Using these hacks as a way to climb the social ladder.
Right.
Albeit a very specific and somewhat shadowy one.
A very niche community for sure.
And this pursuit of notoriety led him to the infamous Chuckling Squad.
Yeah.
A group known for wreaking havoc across the internet.
Oh, yeah. They really ran the gamut when it came to targets.
Really?
You had beauty influencers like James Charles, comedians like Kingbok, YouTubers like Shane Dawson, Amanda Cerny.
Oh, wow.
Even Twitter's own founder, Jack Dorsey, wasn't immune to their pranks.
It was like they were playing a game, right?
Totally.
Using these high-profile accounts to spread chaos and sow discord. They seem to revel in the disruption, the attention, the sheer absurdity of it all.
Yeah.
But there's a darkness to their humor, right? A sense of cruelty that becomes more and more apparent as their exploits escalate.
Right.
Remember when they targeted the account of the late streamer Etika, who had tragically passed away?
Yeah, that incident really marked a turning point for the Chuckling Squad. It wasn't just a prank anymore, it was a violation.
Yeah.
A blatant disregard for human decency and the grieving process, and the backlash was swift and severe, with major YouTubers like PewDiePie publicly condemning their actions.
Yeah, it's like they crossed a line and the public perception of them shifted from mischievous pranksters to something much more sinister.
For sure.
But Joe's ambitions extended beyond social media manipulation.
Right.
He was looking for bigger scores.
Yeah.
And that led him into the world of cryptocurrency.
Yeah. In 2019, Joe and the Chuckling Squad pulled off a daring heist.
Oh, wow.
Targeting the Gemini cryptocurrency exchange.
Okay.
They used SIM swapping to gain access to an executive's account. Then transferred nearly $779,000 worth of Litecoin and Ethereum to wallets under their control. It was a sophisticated operation showcasing a level of technical expertise and organization that went far beyond their earlier social media antics.
But even with all their planning, they made a crucial mistake that would come back to haunt them.
They did. They attempted to launder the stolen cryptocurrency, moving it through a complex web of transactions to obscure its origins.
Yeah.
But in a moment of carelessness, they deposited a portion of the funds into an exchange account that was directly linked to Joe's real identity.
It's almost ironic, isn't it?
Yeah.
They were so skilled at exploiting vulnerabilities, yet they made such a basic error that exposed their entire operation.
You got it.
And this wasn't the only time Joe's audacity overshadowed his caution.
Right.
He also targeted actress Bella Thorne hacking her social media and threatening to release nude photos to extort money.
This incident with Bella Thorne really reveals a darker side to Joe's character. It wasn't about pranks or online clout anymore. It was about using stolen information to exploit and intimidate for personal gain. But Bella Thorne wasn't going to play the victim.
No.
She refused to be blackmailed. And instead, she took control of the situation, releasing the photos herself and calling out Joe's actions.
Wow.
Her response was incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
It shifted the narrative, turning her into a symbol of resilience and exposing Joe as the villain. It's a testament to the importance of victim advocacy and the power of reclaiming one's own narrative.
So we've got Joe, this young hacker, driven by a thirst for notoriety and a growing appetite for illicit games.
Yeah.
He's already made a name for himself in the OG user community, pulled off a major cryptocurrency heist, and tangled with a high-profile actress.
Yeah.
But this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
His most audacious exploits, the ones that would shake the very foundations of the internet, are yet to come.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy how in just a few years, Joe went from those early SIM swapping things to orchestrating a major cryptocurrency heist.
Right.
It really highlights the rapid evolution of cybercrime and the increasing sophistication of these young hackers.
And let's not forget, he was still a teenager during all of this.
I know, it's mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing how someone so young could have such a profound impact on the digital landscape. But let's break down the tactics he used.
Okay.
Because understanding how these hacks happen is crucial for protecting ourselves.
Absolutely.
We've touched on SIM swapping, but how exactly does it work?
So it all boils down to social engineering.
Okay.
Exploiting human weaknesses rather than complex code.
Right.
Joe and his associates would gather information about their targets. Birthdays, addresses, social media posts.
Yeah.
Anything that could help them build a convincing profile.
Right.
Then they'd contact the target's mobile provider posing as the legitimate account holder.
Oh, wow.
Using the gathered information to bypass security questions.
So basically, they'd talk their way into convincing the mobile provider to transfer the victim's phone number to a new SIM card, one that they controlled.
Precisely. And once they had control of the phone number, they could easily bypass two-factor authentication.
Oh, wow. On various accounts, including social media, email, and even financial institutions.
It's scary how easy that is.
It is. It really is.
That gives them access to so much sensitive information.
A treasured trove.
Allowing them to wreak havoc and steal identities.
Yeah, and it's a stark reminder that even with strong passwords and security measures, we're still vulnerable if our phone number falls into the wrong hands.
But Joe's tactics weren't limited to SIM swapping. The 2020 Twitter hack was a whole other level of sophistication.
Oh, yeah.
How did they manage to infiltrate the back-end systems of one of the most powerful social media platforms in the world?
So it was a brilliant, albeit malicious blend of social engineering and technical prowess.
Okay.
They targeted Twitter employees with access to internal tools using a technique called vishing, which is essentially phishing, but over the phone.
Okay.
They'd call these employees posing as IT support or security personnel, creating a sense of urgency or using intimidation tactics.
To trick them into revealing their login credentials.
So they were playing on the trust and helpfulness of these employees, using their positions of authority to gain access to sensitive information.
Exactly. And once they had those login details they were in, they had access to Twitter's back-end systems, giving them the ability to control high-profile accounts, manipulate data, and spread misinformation.
And they certainly didn't hold back, did they?
No, they did not.
They took control of over 130 accounts, including those of Barack Obama, Elon Musk, Bill Gates.
I know, it's crazy.
Some of the most influential figures on the platform.
Huge.
The impact was massive, shaking public trust in social media security. And exposing the vulnerability of even the most seemingly impenetrable systems.
It really was a watershed moment, the 2020 Twitter hack. It forced the tech industry to confront its security weaknesses and invest heavily in protecting user data. It also spurred governments and regulatory bodies to take a more active role in cybersecurity oversight, recognizing the potential for widespread disruption and the need for stricter safeguards.
It's wild to think that a group of young hackers operating from their bedrooms could have such a profound impact on global cybersecurity.
It is wild.
But it also highlights the importance of understanding the motivations behind these attacks.
Absolutely.
Joe wasn't just motivated by chaos. He was also in it for the money.
Right.
Especially with those cryptocurrency heists. We talked about the Gemini exchange hack where they made off with nearly $779,000.
Yeah.
But let's delve into the intricacies of cryptocurrency laundering.
Oh,
because it's a crucial aspect of understanding how these criminals operate.
yeah. Cryptocurrency, with its decentralized nature and the promise of anonymity, has become an attractive tool for money launderers.
Right.
It's essentially a way to clean dirty money, making it appear to come from legitimate sources.
So how does it work? Do they just transfer the stolen cryptocurrency to a different wallet and call it a day?
It's much more complex than that. They use a variety of techniques, often involving multiple cryptocurrency exchanges, digital wallets, and even mixing services.
Wow.
They'll break down large transactions into smaller ones, move funds through different blockchains, and use anonymizing tools to try to obscure the origins of the money.
It's like a digital shell game designed to confuse and mislead investigators.
Exactly. They're trying to create a labyrinth of transactions, making it incredibly difficult to trace the stolen funds back to the perpetrators.
But as we saw with the Gemini heist, even the most elaborate schemes can unravel with a single mistake.
That's right.
That seemingly minor slip-up depositing funds into an exchange linked to Joe's real identity highlights a crucial point. Even the most skilled hackers are prone to human error.
They are.
It's a reminder that cybersecurity isn't just about technology. It's about human behavior, vigilance, and understanding the psychology behind these attacks.
Totally agree.
Speaking of human behavior, let's revisit the Bella Thorne incident.
Okay.
Because it raises some important ethical considerations. Attempting to extort her with those photos was a clear violation.
It was.
A blatant disregard for her privacy and well-being.
It's a disturbing reminder that cybercrime isn't always about financial gain or notoriety.
Right.
It can also be about power control and the exploitation of others.
Yeah.
Joe's actions in this case were reprehensible. And they highlight the darker side of the internet where anonymity can embolden individuals to engage in harmful and abusive behavior.
But, as we discussed earlier, Bella Thorne refused to be a victim.
She did.
Her decision to release the photos herself, to take control of the narrative, was a powerful act of defiance.
It was.
He sent a message that victims have agency, that they can choose how they respond to these situations, and that they don't have to suffer in silence.
Her actions also sparked a broader conversation about online harassment extortion and the importance of victim support.
Right.
It highlighted the need for platforms to take a more proactive role in protecting users, for law enforcement to pursue these cases vigorously, and for society as a whole to create a culture of empathy and support for victims of cybercrime.
It's a sobering reminder that the internet, while offering incredible opportunities for connection and communication, can also be a breeding ground for exploitation and abuse.
It can.
And Joe's story, while focused on his criminal activities, also provides a glimpse into a fascinating subculture, the world of OG usernames.
Oh, yeah.
He was heavily involved in buying and selling these rare usernames for thousands of dollars.
He was.
What's the appeal of these digital status symbols?
So the OG username scene is a complex and intriguing phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's driven by a desire for online status exclusivity and a sense of belonging within a specific community.
Yeah.
These usernames, often short, memorable, or associated with popular brands or platforms, are seen as valuable assets, much like rare collectibles in the physical world.
So it's about more than just the name itself. It's about the perceived value, the social capital it represents within a particular online circle.
Precisely, these usernames become a form of digital currency, traded and bartered among collectors, with their value fluctuating based on rarity demand and cultural relevance. And for individuals like Joe, who were deeply entrenched in the subculture, these usernames represented more than just a hobby.
Right.
They were a symbol of their online identity, their status, and their success within this digital ecosystem.
It's fascinating how the internet has created these parallel economies where digital assets hold real-world value and influence.
It is.
But in Joe's case, his pursuit of these online status symbols was intertwined with his criminal activities, blurring the lines between legitimate collecting and illicit gains.
Right.
His story is a complex tapestry, woven with threads of ambition, notoriety, technical prowess, and ethical lapses.
A lot going on there.
And as we delve deeper into the final chapter of his saga, we'll uncover the consequences of his actions, the lavish lifestyle he built, and the ultimate price he paid for his crimes. Okay, so we've traced Joe's journey from those early days of SIM swapping to elaborate cryptocurrency heists and his deep dive into that world of OG usernames.
Right.
But all of this was happening while he was living this lavish lifestyle in Spain.
Yeah.
Seemingly untouchable, even as the FBI was building a case against him.
It's almost like he was living a double life.
Yeah.
One foot in the world of like extravagant spending, designer clothes, luxury travel, and those coveted online status symbols. And then the other foot firmly planted in the criminal underworld, orchestrating these elaborate schemes and exploiting vulnerabilities for personal gain.
It's a strange dichotomy, right?
It is.
This young guy, barely out of his teens, living a life most people only dream of.
Yeah.
Funded entirely by illicit activities. But how did he manage to maintain this facade for so long?
There's a certain level of audacity there that's almost captivating. Even after his arrest, there's evidence that he continued to communicate with his associates on Discord.
Really?
Seemingly unfazed by the prospect of facing justice.
Wow.
It's as if he believed he was operating in a different reality, where the rules didn't apply.
But reality has a way of catching up, doesn't it?
It does.
And for Joe, that reality came crashing down when the FBI finally closed in, armed with years of evidence and a string of high-profile victims.
Right. The charges against him were extensive,
Yeah.
SIM swapping, extortion, and those particularly reckless swatting incidents
Right.
where he made hoax emergency calls to send armed police to people's homes.
Those swatting incidents really highlight the dangerous escalation of his actions.
They do.
It wasn't just about online disruption or financial gain anymore.
Right.
It was about putting innocent lives at risk, showing a complete disregard for the potential consequences.
And it was those swatting charges with their very real and potentially devastating impact that ultimately led to his extradition to the U.S., where he faced much harsher penalties than he would have in Spain.
So all the money, the lavish lifestyle, the OG usernames.
Yeah.
How much was it all worth in the end?
Right.
What was Joe's estimated net worth after all those scams and heists?
At least $10 million.
$10 million.
Wow. But much of that wealth was never recovered.
Really?
There were rumors of hidden cryptocurrency stashes.
Yeah.
But those remain unconfirmed, adding another layer of intrigue to this already captivating story.
Imagine having millions of dollars stashed away in cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
A digital fortune hidden somewhere in the vast expanse of the internet. It's like a modern-day treasure hunt waiting for someone to crack the code.
It speaks to the allure and the danger of cryptocurrency, right?
Right.
Its decentralized nature, the promise of anonymity, and the difficulty of tracing transactions make it an attractive tool for criminals seeking to launder money and hide their ill-gotten gains.
We know Joe spent a significant portion of his wealth on those OG usernames, those digital status symbols that held so much value within his online community.
Right.
But what about the rest of his fortune? How did he spend those millions?
From what we can gather, he indulged in the trappings of wealth, you know?
Yeah.
Designer clothes, luxury travel, high-end electronics, all the things you'd expect from someone living a life of extravagance.
And there's even a detail that stands out. Something that hints at a possible attempt to legitimize himself.
Oh, really?
To find a way out of the criminal underworld.
Okay.
His venture into creating a GTA roleplay server with YouTuber Rice Gum.
It's an interesting twist, isn't it?
It is.
Perhaps he saw it as an opportunity to leverage his notoriety, his technical skills, and his ill-gotten gains for a more legitimate pursuit. Or maybe it was simply another way to fuel his ego, to expand his online presence and solidify his status within the gaming community.
Right. But whatever his motivations, his arrest put an end to those plans, leaving us to wonder what might have been had he chosen a different path.
Yeah, in the end, Joe was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison with credit for time served in Spain. A significantly lighter sentence than the potential 77 years he was facing.
Some might argue that it's a lenient sentence.
Yeah.
Considering the severity of his crimes, the potential harm he caused, and the sheer audacity of his actions.
Right, but it does send a message that cybercrime, no matter how sophisticated or seemingly victimless, will not go unpunished.
Right.
The digital world is not a lawless frontier, and those who exploit vulnerabilities for personal gain will eventually face consequences.
Joe's story is a cautionary tale, a reminder that the allure of easy money, online notoriety, and digital status symbols can lead down a dangerous path, one that can ultimately cost you your freedom and your future.
It's a story that raises important questions about the nature of identity in the digital age, the allure of fame and fortune, and the ethical boundaries that we must navigate as technology continues to blur the lines between the real and the virtual.
If you could ask PlugWalkJoe one question, knowing his story, what would it be?
That's a good question.
What insights could he offer into the mind of a young hacker, the motivations behind his actions, and the lessons he's learned from his experiences.
It's a question worth pondering because understanding the forces that drive individuals like Joe is crucial for combating cybercrime
Right.
and creating a safer and more secure digital world for everyone.
So we leave you with that thought, a final reflection on the complex and captivating story of PlugWalkJoe, a story that reminds us that the digital world, while offering incredible opportunities, also presents unique challenges and ethical dilemmas that we must confront head-on.
As technology continues to evolve at an unprecedented pace, it's up to all of us to stay informed, to be vigilant about our online security, and to engage in thoughtful conversations about the ethical implications of our actions in this increasingly interconnected world.
Until next time, keep diving deep.